Welcome to the next segment of my analysis of Todd Rundgren on video. How to see Todd on video at his best, how to buy and view Todd on various video media. Now, I've already recorded two of these guides to the VHS years, which look at the videos that were originally released on video cassette, VHS. And if you watch part 1 and 2 of Todd Rundgren, the VHS years, you'll be able to see which of these videos are now available on DVD. In this first segment on Todd, the DVD years, I'm going to look at the Todd videos which were first released on DVD. So this isn't everything that you can get with Todd on DVD. It's only items that were originally released in the DVD format. So the first that I want to look at is Todd Rundgren live in San Francisco. Now this tour was a concert in San Francisco associated with the One Long Year CD. It's not one of Todd's best CDs, but nonetheless, this DVD does have some very strong performances of some Todd anthems. So we have, for example, really good versions of Black and White, Number One Lowest Common Denominator, and Open My Eyes. So these are highlights of this DVD, and there are no real extras to this DVD. It's a concert. It's only 81 minutes. I think there must have been something wrong with the filming at the start of the concert, and so quite a bit of the concert's missing. The other issues about this are that the quality of the video is not very good at all. In fact, if you look at the VHS releases of Todd, some of which were filmed like 10 years earlier, they're of a much higher standard, both visually and I think in audio terms. This is sort of sub VHS video quality. It's not particularly good at all. I think another issue is that they've made a big play in this DVD of the fact that it's got 5.1 sound, and indeed, as well as Dolby Digital 5.1, it's got DTS. Now, unfortunately, I don't think the original recording is up to being processed in this standard. I don't really know what the point in having 5.1 surround is when you've only got 3 band members in this band. And so what do you do with all the channels? So unfortunately, the bass is very heavily pumped up in this, and whenever the bass comes on heavy, a lot of the other sounds are dulled. So it's not, I don't think, a very good mix at all. So I would give this basically 3 stars, and it wouldn't be the first Todd DVD I would try to seek. Now, there's an issue that I want to talk about in relation to this video, which is important to understand in general about DVDs. When the DVD format was brought out, there was this thing created called regional coding. Now, there isn't anything inherently there isn't anything inherently preventing DVDs from one country being played in another. The format is the same, but companies can install in their DVDs a thing called regional coding. So they can put in a regional code, and what that means is that people with unmodified players in other territories will not be able to play the DVD because you put the DVD in the machine and it's rejected on the basis that the regional code is not the same. Now, generally, music videos, I would say quite a lot of them don't have regional coding, but unfortunately some do, and this is one of them. So this is a Region 1 disc, which was brought out by Image Entertainment, and it's Region 1. I can play it because I have a multi-region player. Now, it's important to separate out the issue of regional coding from video format. So this, as well as being region 1, this is an NTSC format. That's the color systems that's used. Now, the majority of televisions in the UK, in fact, probably all of them now, will play an NTSC signal. So if you're buying a video from abroad, it doesn't actually matter if it's PAL or NTSC. What matters is if it's got a regional code. Sometimes the information about this in the packaging or the information that goes on online listings is inaccurate. So it's important to read the comments that purchasers have made. And this will become more important in the next segment when I look at a couple of other Todd DVDs where there's been some confusion about the regional coding that's been advertised. So if you don't have a player that's been modified to be multi-region, then this particular version will only play in United States, Region 1, or any other territories that are covered by Region 1. If you're in the UK or Europe or any areas that are covered by Region 2, then what you want is this triple boxed set, which was brought out a couple of years later by BMG in the UK. And it has the live in San Francisco. Plus it also has Todd Rundgren live in Japan. And it has Todd Rundgren, the desktop collection, and the Second Wind DVD. That's the making of the Second Wind. And if you want to know more about these videos, if you look at the second part of my Todd Rundgren, the VHS years, you'll get some more information about these videos. They're a slightly odd combination to have on this British release with Todd Rundgren live in San Francisco, because desktop collection was videos which were released in relation to the New World Order era, and the Second Wind recording sessions is obviously about the live recording of that particular album. Unfortunately, putting in Todd Rundgren live in Japan in this triple box set shows up the poorer quality of live in San Francisco. It's much lower production values, performance, and unfortunately the recording is not nearly as good. But if you want to get when this was available, it was a very good deal for British purchasers. For once, it was actually properly marketed by BMG. They did some advertising for this, which coincided with Todd touring the UK. It was something he doesn't do very often, unfortunately. And this box set is Region 2. So if you're in the United States or Region 1 territories and you don't have a modified player, you'll be unable to play this particular box set. So you'll have to get the Region 1 version. So this next one is from a company called Sanctuary Entertainment, and this was a very good period for Todd when he was working with them, and subsequently with his next record company that he was working with, because he was first of all a lot more available in Britain, because Sanctuary is a UK based, or was a UK based company, and they released some new Todd material as well as some archive material, and this is one of the archive items which they released. And good for Sanctuary, as you can see, it is all regions. So the one that I'm looking at is in the PAL system. I think it was also released in the NTSC system, but regardless, it was released without regional coding, which means that you can play this DVD anywhere. So this is a concert from 1980. It's got a lot of Todd, famous Todd track, both famous Utopia tracks like Road to Utopia, Back in the Street, Caravan, Rock Love, There's also, which is also very interesting, is the fact that there's some material by Roger Powell. So we have his emergency splashdown somewhere on here. I don't know if it's on the actually on the list of tracks, but it's on there. And also the Sands of Arrakis, which is from his solo releases. So there's a lot of interesting material on here. There's also an interview with Todd, which is interesting. Some things about this DVD, about the recording of the concert, haven't aged well. First of all, the picture quality is okay, but it's not fantastic. Another thing is that the kind of clothes they're wearing haven't aged well. They're from a particular era, and they don't necessarily stand up well. Also, Todd was using video a lot in these performances, and although I think that he's got that nailed pretty well now, I don't think that it was particularly effective in that era. So one of the highlights, I think, in terms of a performance in this DVD is Love Alone, which the band is singing as like a kind of barbershop quartet. But there's some quite annoying animation in the background, which does not add to the performance at all. So I'm not really sure that the video element of the performance stands up particularly well. Also, there's a drum solo by Willie Wilcox, which is accompanied by some rather silly special effects that have been put onto the video, obviously at the time it was filmed, which look a bit ridiculous and don't add to the performance. So as with Todd Rundgren live in San Francisco, I just give this video 3 stars out of 5. It's worth getting if you want to see performance of a lot of these songs which you might not see performed elsewhere. But again, this has been the sound. There's a 5.1 audio sound as well as a normal stereo recording. I think I would just stick to the stereo version. I don't think the original sound recording quality is good enough to justify putting it up to 5.1. I just think that's a little bit of a gimmick. So this is the next one, Utopia Live in Boston. So this was released again by Sanctuary a year later in 2004. So Live in San Francisco came out 2002, Utopia in Columbus, Ohio 2003, and this is 2004 from Sanctuary Records. Again, it's all regions, multi-region, so no worry about whatever region you're watching from. The one I've got here is NTSC. I imagine it's in PAL as well. Again, if you're in the UK, there isn't much worry about whether it's PAL or NTSC. I'm not so sure about the United States, but I'm sure it was released in NTSC as well. There's some really good performances on this. This was a cracking tour, and the band are playing great. But if you've got, or you can get a hold of the other concert, An Evening with Utopia, which is from the same tour, I think it's actually better in terms of the way it's filmed. So I would get this one as a second choice. But if you've already got An Evening in Utopia, or you can get it, you might think you don't really need to bother with this one. There's an extra here, which are interviews with the band members. Again, it's been tarted up into 5.1 audio, and I think again that's a bit of a waste of time because it's such an old recording. So again, 3 out of 5 stars for this one. Okay, so the last DVD that I'm going to look at in this segment, because this guide's going to be in at least 3 parts. So the one I want to look at now is Liars, and I have to say it's an absolute triumph. I was at this tour. It came to the UK, which was great. He came with the full setup, quite a spectacular stage setup. And the performances in this are incredibly powerful. It's absolutely really, really powerful DVD. This is one that I like to put on and watch a lot. And it does actually take advantage of the DVD format. I think it was possibly quite difficult to film some elements of this stage setup, especially the type of lighting they had. So you do tend to get a bit of kind of flaring from the lights they use, but it's photographed quite dynamically, and it really brings across the strength of the performance, which is great. So especially on the first set, there's two sets in this. In the first set, Todd's in this kind of sort of Sisters of Mercy mode. Some really, really, quite heavy rock sound blasting away there, and then it's a bit more gentle in the second half. And of course, this DVD was to accompany the Liars album. And as you will know if you have that album or have heard it, it's an absolutely excellent album. It got really good reviews and I think quite good sales in the UK, and the UK tour was successful too. So this was all in all a really good tour for Todd. This is an American concert. Unfortunately, none of the British concerts were filmed, but whether you're in the UK or the US or elsewhere, this is very much worth getting. And the 5.1 audio sound is good in this one. It's definitely worth listening to in 5.1. That element has been handled well, and that's simply, I imagine, because it's a relatively recent recording. And I think there's extras on it are quite good. There's some quite interesting footage from the band in Japan eating a Japanese meal and talking about their experiences. So all in all, this is a really good package, and I would unhesitatingly recommend it. So it's Sanctuary Records. It was released in the UK and in the US too, I think. The one I've got is Region 1, but it was released as a Region 2 DVD as well. So if regional coding is important to you, the Region 1 will play fine in the US or anywhere else if like myself, you've got a multi-region player. If you're in the UK, you need it in Region 2. Okay, so we'll come back and look at some more Todd DVDs in the next segment. Thank you.